Alright, welcome back to another Cinema 4D and Octane render tutorial. Today I'll be showing you how I made the Razer Kraken this time. So this time I'm actually doing the headsets. If you want to download this project, you can get it on patreon.com/ArthurWhitehead. I post all my projects there, and this is actually one of the first projects I posted there. The variation I posted there won't be the same as the one we're doing now. I did a white version there, but you'll still get the model, and you might actually get a much better model and textures in that project, since I spent a lot more time on that than I will be doing this tutorial. But in this tutorial I'll be doing something different. I'm not exactly sure what the final product will look like yet, but you would have seen it in the preview. What the final at the start of the video you'll see what the final looks like, but as of now I'm not too sure where I'm going to take this, and there's a lot of this project I'm actually not too sure how to do properly, so I might record this over multiple days and just sort of fix the things that I'm not too sure how to do as I go along. But most of it I'm pretty confident in doing. So we're going to be modeling this thing, doing some minor texturing and some minor lighting to get the render, and then you can sort of take it wherever you want to after that. But yeah, if you want to see my work, you can follow me on Instagram.com/ArthurVisuals. I do post all my stuff there. I'm most up to date on there. Everyone that I know in person mostly follows me there, so that's where I'm just most active naturally. And then I'm also active on Facebook.com/ArthurVisuals. If you want to get me on Facebook, I do post my stuff there. I don't post real life stuff there, but I do post renders and stuff. The real life stuff, you have to go to Instagram. But I guess we'll get started with the tutorial. So I actually have this headset. It's quite old. It's about 2-3 years, probably even older than that actually. So it's a bit of a broken mess at the moment, but all I need is the measurements from it. So I'll just be using this as a reference. We'll do a few measurements, and then after that we can just sort of eyeball it. You might want to get some references online if you don't have this actual model. If you don't actually have this headset, but yeah, so we'll get started. So the certain width over here that I have is 3.4 centimeters. So we'll create a cylinder like this, 3.4 centimeters, and that's the actual diameter. So we need to divide this by 2 to get the radius, and then here we can just drop this height down. I think we'll go for 30 rotation segments. That seemed to work well in the last project, so I'll just stick with that. Then we're going to go save it. So you might want to go save it as a new project here. Here I've created a folder for the tutorial, one with renders, and I'll also make a new folder with assets in this later. But for now, this is all we need. So I'm just going to go turn off these render safe here. It's been a while since I've done a step-by-step tutorial like this, so it feels kind of fun. And I'm also going to take my time as well. I realized that I actually have a lot more time than I usually think I do. So I'm just going to take my time, and this might turn out to be a 2-hour tutorial, but people seem to not really mind that. So yeah, so this thing over here, this microphone's so big, so I'm struggling to see it. I have to pick it up to actually see it. But I guess we'll start with a bit of the in-groove parts, and then we'll just sort of expand outwards. So I'm just going to go and make this editable. I think I'll get rid of these back faces here. And then this inside part here, if I just take a look, sort of have to do this with one hand here as I'm holding up the headphones with the other, but it's kind of extruded like this. If you want, you can go for exact measurements. I don't think it's that important. Maybe later down the line in this tutorial, if I feel like it is actually impacting the whole project, then I might go and fix it up then. But for now, I guess it's not that important to get the exact measurements. So something like that's fine. Now we're starting off with a good base, and we can sort of just adjust as we go along if things are slightly off. So this is kind of what this part looks like, and then it extrudes outwards like so. Don't really have use with my keyboard right now to help out because I'm sort of holding up the headphones with my hand, but I guess it's fine. We can just do without it. So let's do something like this, and then it extrudes out, down, and then out again, and then it extrudes down. So here we can just go and set this to 0, then we can just push this down here, like so. And then outside area here is where we have these weird octagon texture that goes around, and I think I'll save that for later. So what I'll do is I'll either figure out a way of modeling it on there, or I'll just do it during through a texture. But I think I'll split the tutorial up into parts for myself, and then I'll just put it all into one tutorial in the final for you guys. But for me, I think I'll just do this in parts, just so that the quality is better for you guys, and I'm not sort of trying to figure out things as I'm going along inside the tutorial. So here I'm already noticing that this part here is too low. So we'll put these headsets down here so I can select these things. And then this part should be a bit higher. So yeah, I think that's about right. And this part, okay, so now here we need to actually pay attention. So this part pushes up a bit, like so, and then I think what we'll also do is add in a loop here at 50%. So no, 550, like that. Then I think if we push this down slightly and then outward slightly, I think we'll get the look that we're looking for. And then this part here should actually be lower than the rest. So I'm sort of trying to figure out how we're going to do this. Let's go and smooth this out and see what the actual smooth version looks like. Okay, so we're just going to add a bit of support to the areas that I think won't really need that much adjusting. If they do, we can always just remove the lines again. But okay, so we're just going to go change our clipping to small here, like that. Hopefully the way I'm doing tutorials is slightly better. I'm taking it a bit slow. I've been watching a few tutorials lately. I generally don't watch tutorials because I just don't feel like I have the need to. I can figure it out on my own. But lately I've been watching tutorials, and some guys are really good at actually explaining stuff. So I'm trying to adopt these methods. I usually sort of just run through it and not really worry about the person that's learning. Sort of assume that because I sort of went through a tough way of learning that everyone else should, but that's actually a wrong mindset to go through. So I'm trying to be more lenient, especially towards the beginners here. So what I'm doing is I'm just adding some lines here just so that we can sharpen out some of the edges, so we can sort of see what we're getting in terms of the final look. And I'm just going to turn this up to 3 just to help with our shading. Take a look here, and probably shouldn't be getting into the details yet, but I feel like this area is a bit too sharp. So I'm just going to scale this in and maybe push this one down. So just push this down. And then here I'm just going to get rid of this line and add in another one a bit further away. Cool. So this is kind of what it looks like in the real life version. But this I'm still trying to figure out how this works. I think this is a bit less, it's not as pushed down as I thought it was. So what we'll do here is we'll get rid of these 2 lines. Then I'll just push this line up, like so, and then we'll take these lines here, like, oh, why is it not, like so, then we'll push it down. Yeah, so this is actually probably flat. It does feel like it dips in a bit, but I might be wrong about that. So this is actually a lot flatter than I thought it was. So I'm just going to bring this up with a slight dip. As you can see, I'm paying very close attention to the details. I guess it's not that important. Depends on what you're doing with this. It could be just still frames or animation or what, but I am paying quite close attention to the details here. So, okay. So I think this is closer to what we're looking for in terms of this base here. Now we can look at the actual width, how extruded out everything is. In terms of that, I think that's a bit accurate. But I want to be careful here. So I'm just going to go measure out the whole width of the thing, just so I'm sure that, because if we have an incorrect measurement of our base that we're expanding on, then the whole thing will be wrong. So I need to be sure that this measurement here is pretty accurate. So for this total diameter is 4.6 centimeters. So create another cylinder here. Go 4.6 in diameter, divided by 2 to get our radius. And then just drop this down to 1. And I think what we'll do is just make this X-ray. Cool, so I think we're actually quite close in terms of the width around here. So I've been modeling a lot in Blender lately, so I'm not too sure how to scale things out proportionally and stuff inside of Cinema 4D. I can do it in Blender. That's why I'm thinking of switching in the beginning of next year, because Blender's modeling toolkit, in my personal opinion, is just so much better. But I'm not too sure how to do that in Cinema 4D. So I think I'll just scale it like this, and then just remove some of the lines, and then scale these back in. So what we'll do here is we'll just remove this line, remove these 2 lines, and then we'll just scale this in again. Like that. So take a look at this reference here again. I think that's about right. Yeah, I don't want to get too caught on the proportions. It might not matter to some of you, so I think that'll do. I think that's good enough. So now we can sort of scale outwards and expand a bit more. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to go and take these bottom lines here. So there's actually a section with some like ridges inside them. So I think what we'll do is we'll extrude this out. We will zero off the offset, and then we'll scale it in, and you'll sort of see what I'm making now. But just looking at the actual object, it helps to have a real world object, because then you can see these like details, which will sort of really help with the final in terms of photorealism. So there's this little gap here where the actual ridges comes out, and then it sort of scales out again. So if you want, you could just copy this. We want to also be careful here. Don't know why Cinema 4D always does this, but for some reason, whenever I create a cylinder, these 2 don't match, and it's a bit annoying when it's a bit off. So I might actually want to try and fix that maybe at the start of the tutorial, so it doesn't throw off our whole project. So I think I'm just going to go here and do that. So I don't know why it does that, but it does that in a lot of projects, and it's a bit annoying to have to try and remember that. But that's whatever. It might be something I'm doing wrong. Okay. And then here I'm also noticing this extrude here is actually quite small as well. So it's going to go and select all these lines again, and then select this inside one here, and then just push this up. Take a look at our smoothed view. Okay. If I'm making noise with this headphones, I'm sorry. I don't have 3 arms to hold it up and use the keyboard and mouse, so what we're going to do is just going to push this up a bit more as well. I think that's a bit closer to what I was going for. So what we're going to do now as well is just add in a loop here, add in a loop there. We'll take a look. Okay, cool. I think that's good enough. So now we have that small gap for our actual extrusion. I think maybe I want to add it, give it a bit more space here. So I'm just going to go ring select these faces here. Where is this? Okay, push this down a bit. Down 1. Then we can take these and just also push this down 1 like that. Then it extrudes out. So here we'll just go and extrude it out like that. And the total extrusion is 1.5 centimeters. So you can just go 1.5 like that, and then it's also at an angle. I'm not sure exactly what the angle is, but I guess we can eyeball it. Doesn't have to be that perfect. I guess we could sort of calculate the distance? Around 0.6. So here if we go and take in a cube and go 0.6, and here we can go 1, 1. If you take this cube here, just move it like that, and then like that. Now we can get a bit of an idea of how far this thing's supposed to be extruding down. So I'm just going to extrude it down like this and take a look. That feels like too much, so I don't think this cube idea is working. But it's not that curved. So we'll do that, and then we'll put one in the middle as well. 50%. And then we'll just push this up a bit, and then out a bit. Let's do that again. Out a bit. Then we'll get this like slight roundness over there, which isn't really showing that well, but I guess we can fix that later. And then here, it's quite interesting here. It sort of curves and dips in. So I think what we can do here maybe is go and extrude this down. I'm actually paying a lot closer to it, attention to the details than I did in the original project. So this project might be better than the one on Patreon. If it is, then I might update it, or just post this version as well. But in terms of modeling detail, I'm paying a lot closer attention just because I'm actually teaching people here instead of just doing it for myself. So so the section here actually dips, and I'm sort of wondering how I'm going to do that. So if I add in a line here and smooth it, I guess that would be alright. I think I want it to dip a bit differently, so I think I'm going to scale this out, maybe push it down a bit, and take a look. And then this thing here, this line here, we can go get rid of that and just add in another one, maybe like there. Okay, I think we're kind of getting there. And then what we can do is maybe scale this out. So maybe there, we can extrude 0 and up, like so. So the idea is this is going to dip down, and then this thing should maybe come over here and cover it. That would be a cool idea. So let's go 0, and then scale it in. Like so. So the texture should dip inside there. So maybe just give it a bit more room. Like that maybe. You can always fix that later if it's not matching up. And then just a slight bit of thickness here. Just a tiny bit. It's a bit annoying because we're working with small increments and I don't really feel like going and changing that. I wish it was just not jumping like that. So we get a bit of depth here. Stop jumping. Okay. And then we can go and extrude it again. Like so, zero this out. And then we can scale this out here. Like so. And then, okay, let's take a look at the whole thing in proportion to everything else. I might be getting this wrong because I was zoomed in for so long. I think that looks right. I'm not too happy with this section here, but I guess it's not that important. So we're going to go and extrude this again, like so, and then push it down, like so, maybe a bit higher actually. Like so. Take another look as we zoom out here. Okay, so yeah, this, I'm getting my proportions a bit off here. So this should be something like that, actually. And this section here as well should be pushed out more. So maybe like that. Then push this out again. And then push this down. I think this angle should follow this angle here. So maybe up a bit more, something like that. And then I guess what we can do is we can now extrude this in. So I'm not too sure. I think this is flat. So this part here can just be a flat down extrusion like that. Then we can go and measure this section here. So this is 1.8 is fine. So we're going to go and take a look at that. What am I looking at? I think I'm looking at, let's just go and change this and see what's changing here. So that's 1. Whoops. Undo that. 1.9. 1.9. Ooh, there we go. 1.8. Getting closer to 1.8 there. So I'm just looking at this value here. 1.82 is fine, but it's actually a bit smaller. I'm being very picky. Okay, that's fine. Cool. So this section here, let's go and add some lines just so we can get a better view of what the final would look like. And I think we need some supporting lines in here as well. Okay, so that's what it would look like. Maybe if I change this view mode, because I'm not liking the shading here. Okay, so I think that's close. I think I wanted to maybe dip a bit more. So let's put this headset down. I'm just going to go here. Select these. Then just push it down a bit. Like that. And then we can sort of scale it inwards for the inside part here. So this is the ring where the whole strap of the headset will sort of come around, and then this is like the back side where the earmuff will be. So if we go and scale this in, like so, here we can be a bit less, we can be a bit more carefree here, because most of this you won't really be seeing in the final render, but still important to try and get it as accurate as possible. So I guess that's okay. I feel like I should scale this in slightly. And then there's a flat part here, so we can go and extrude 0, and then scale that in. I can't really see under here, but I guess that's fine. And then let me just take a close look at these headphones. So I think there's a gap inside here. The lighting's not great because it's in the night right now, so I can't really get good lighting to see in here. Okay, I can see it there. So that's a flat extrusion, then it goes like that, like that. Okay, so here I guess we can just make this up. I think we'll do an extrude. We'll go 0. We'll push it up. Then we'll extrude again, 0. We'll scale it in. Let's take another look. And scale it in a bit more, and then here we can go and extrude it. Go 0, and then push this down. So this will be the part where the earmuff sort of connects. Just want to figure out how we want to do that. So let's do this, and then extrude outwards like that. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go into my website. No, ArtStation. I'm just going to take a look at how I did the texturing here, because if I didn't really pay much attention... Wait, where's this thing? How did I... Okay, so this part here was just one color, so we don't really need to worry about making a cloth go over this whole thing. Which means that... Why are these two earmuff's different. Sorry. The right side earmuff and the left side earmuff is slightly different, so I'm just being careful here. Yeah, I guess that's fine. And then it extrudes outwards, but it doesn't extrude that far out compared to this thing. Just a tiny bit, actually. So, something like that, maybe. And then it extrudes down a bit again. So, like so. And then this section we can close off just by extruding 0, just zeroing out these coordinates here, enter. Then we're just going to go into optimize. So we're going to close this hole here by optimizing it, but we want to be careful not to lose some of our lines here because they're quite close to each other. So if we take a look at some of our close lines here, we try and optimize this. We want to be careful that we're not merging these lines together. So let's go with something very small, enter. Let's just sort of check, sort of remember where we might have put some lines and see if they're still there. They all seem to be there, so that's fine. And now this hole at the back here should be closed. Let me just check here quickly. Like that. Let's move a face. Cool, so that hole's nice and closed up now. And now we can add some lines here to make this edge here sharp, like so, and then we can add a line there. So we're just adding some lines to sharpen out the edges here. So there. This is going surprisingly well. I didn't really plan this tutorial out at all, so I wasn't too sure how it was going to work out. I'm sort of learning as I'm going along here. I have done this project before, but I didn't go that into detail as I am now. So something like that's fine. Cool. I'm a bit worried about this section here because we are going to sort of have to. We'll probably just texture it, but I want it to look as good as possible. So I think I'll split this. I think I'll save that for the texturing section and solve the problem there. But yeah, so this is the section of the headphones. Take a look here. I think maybe we want this to be a bit more rounded. So let's go and push this up. Scale it out. And smooth it. Cool, it's not getting the round effect that I'm looking for. So let's see what we can do about that. It might be this line here. So let's just go remove that and add it back in. And then what might be causing that here? Cool, so I think that's okay, I guess. I'm being very picky because this is a tutorial, so I'm a bit worried about the final look. Just looking at the slant here, I think this is even angled down even more, maybe even scaled out slightly. So I think what I'll do here is maybe just get rid of this line here. And I think I'll just angle it down even more, and then take these two and then scale it out like that. So then we can add this line back in here. Cool. And if I take a close look here, if I get some good lighting on this thing, oh, never mind. It's not what I thought it was, so that's fine. All right, so I think that part is done. This section here is too thick, so we're just going to go select these inside lines here. Then we'll select these here, and push them up, like so. Maybe just up a tiny bit more. Okay, so now we're sort of just working out all the proportions of things, because that can really throw off the final look of the thing. So I think it's good if we start maybe modeling the rest of the actual headphone, and then the proportions and stuff can be judged a bit better. So we're going to take these faces here, we're going to go ring select, like so. Then we'll go and let's go split this. So where's the split? Split. Take the bottom one, drag it out here, and then we'll go and scale this out like so. And then we'll just go and scale this whole thing out again. So let's go right click, extrude, tick on create caps. Then, okay. Okay, so it's a slight gap here, which is good. And the thickness of this whole thing is, let's see, 0.4 centimeters around there. So if we take one of these faces, check here. I probably should have done this with the extruding actually, so let's just go and undo that. Here we'll go 0.4, like so. Cool. Okay, so let's go and smooth this as well. I think, just taking a look, I'm sort of rotating these headphones in my hand so I can get good lighting reflections and sort of see where the curves and stuff are. So this thing has a slight curve on the inside, which I think, even if it doesn't, it will be a cool addition to add into the project. So I'm just trying to think how I want to do this. Maybe we do this and then we take one in the middle at around 50%. And let me just do this again because I'm being perfectionist here. Let's go symmetry. Then we can go 50%. We're just going to bump this down very slightly like that. That might give you a nice look in terms of reflections. I feel like it's even too much now. But yeah, I guess that's okay. Okay, so let's just go into our side view here, press S. Sorry, side view. S. It's going to select these bottom lines here. And I'm going to push them up. This is almost a little bit over half the size, so I guess that's quite close. Maybe just a bit higher, like that. Okay, so now if you go and smooth this out again, I think this bottom piece here needs some more supporting lines. Like that. Take a look. Cool. So this is the ring piece of the earphone. I guess what we can do now is just rotate it and sort of work on it a bit more. So we can go rotate this 90 degrees and I can sort of see what we're going for here. So like that. This ring section here, let's see. Okay, so what we can do is we can extrude some of these faces up. So to do that, we need to get rid of these lines here, just to make it easier. I think we'll go with the top 4 faces here. That's tricky. What we'll do actually is we'll go and rotate these. So let's go rotate these 90. How do I want to do this? Rotate this 90 degrees. And then inside. Okay, let's just take this out. No, this one. Okay, I'll take this out again, and we're just going to correct this pivot point here. Okay, so now we can go and just bring in some new subdivision surfaces here. Let's go 3, let's go 3. Okay, so now we have some better selections to use. So now we have some even selections here, which is what I wanted. What's going on? That's weird. Oh. Oh, it's still not working. Okay, there we go. That was strange. Okay. Cool. So now if we select these top faces here, I think that will be good enough. Again, I'm being very careful. That'll be good enough for extrusion. If you want, you can keep a save of this in case. Let's go and save that. Saved version of that mesh in case this doesn't work. But we'll extrude that out like that. And then this length here is around, let's see, first line ended here, around 1.6 in total size. So push this down, check that, or maybe let's actually do the length of this line here. 1.67, 1.6, that's around 1.6. So that's what we're looking for. And then these top lines here are flat. So we can go and copy the height of this. Oops. Copy the height of this, and we can just go paste this. Enter. 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 So much easier in other programs like Blend and Maya. Maybe I just don't understand Cinema 4D's modeling toolkit well enough, and it's my fault, but I just feel it's a lot more tedious in this program. But that's just me complaining. So this thing actually rotates and bends a bit. So it's actually something like this. And see, I have, no, I don't. So I have the, okay, it's an axis mode. That's why it's not like this. So here's an axis mode. It can be in world mode. It doesn't really matter. But it's like that. And then I'm moving it to the side here to get this sort of bend here. And then I think we'll also go maybe add one. Let's go smooth it and see. Okay, so there's a slight bend. This angle might be important because it will determine like how round your actual your head strap is. I don't even know what it's called. We'll call it the head strap. And then the rotation of this actual thing as well is quite important. So I think I'll go normal and then just scale it, rotate it again. If I take a further out look, I can get a better view. Okay, so I'm looking at this headphone, my eyes, which is not the best way to calculate this, but I have a feeling that's pretty close. In real life, this does look lower though, so I think I'm just gonna do that. It doesn't look that high in real life. Let's just push this in even more. I think because we've rotated stuff, the size is a bit different now. So if you go into line mode, take a look at this, 1.25, and if I measure this here, this is 1.6. So something is a bit off, but I guess it's not that big of a deal. I guess the way it actually looks is more important than the real world reference. So I think what we'll do is we'll add in a line here at 50%, 50. 50. And then let's take a look again. Cool. Let's add in a line here. We'll sort of fix up the topology soon. I just want to sort of see if I'm actually getting the shape right here. Let's add a line up here as well. Like so. So I think that looks good in terms of shape. I'm a bit confused at how I'm going to do this. So let's see here. Okay, Okay, so let's get rid of some of these lines again and think about how I'm going to make this look right. Should probably start getting off the real world reference now and actually worry about what the final thing is going to look like. So here you can see it's almost a bit roundish here, but there it's flat, so I'm a bit worried about that, but I guess it's fine. Okay, so let's just do it one line at a time. So let's add in a line there and see if that helps things. It does have this edge here being a bit smoother, but now we have an issue of this part here needs to be a lot harder. So I think what we'll do is we'll add in a line here, add in a line there. Let's get rid of these 4 lines here. Let's take a look. Cool, because I want this section here to be smooth. But I do want the section here to be hard as well. So let's go add in a line at the top here and take a look. Cool, I think we're getting a bit closer to what we're looking for here. Not too sure what to do with the n-gons and stuff at the moment. What if I... let's see. This back section here is looking good. But again, we don't need this section here to be smooth. Here we kind of do. I think if we maybe added in a line here and made this section a bit flat, like if I went and added in a line like this, and then I sort of flattened out this area here by, I guess we could just move it. So I'll change this to world and then move it like that. I think this might help a bit in terms of final look. Okay, that's looking a lot better. Let's just take a look. It might be too far. No, it's not. Let's push it out. Okay, so I think that's really helped with that section here. Now I'm looking here and this does feels a bit thick. Let's go and measure this thing. It's 3.6. So we'll do the cube method again. Add in a cube, 3.6, like that. And then here we'll go and X-ray it. So it's fairly close. It's actually smaller than it should be, so that's better than what I was hoping for, than what I was thinking. But the section here should sort of flatten. It should be even in terms of width. So let's select these lines here. What's the width here? 3.8. I think we can just be sloppy and paste this in here. Oh, let's redo that. 3.8. And here we can just take the top faces, 3.8. Like that. Take another look. Now we're having an issue of this edge here not being smooth enough. So we're sort of just running into issues as we go along, which is a bit annoying. I want to move this line up, but I'm not too sure how to without... Let's just get rid of this and look at it again. Okay, so I think these lines here maybe need to be a bit thinner. So let's go get rid of that. Take a look. Not thinner, sorry. Oh, say that's why. Let's add in this line here. Here. Take a look. Cool. That solved the issue. I was trying to harden out this edge using the wrong edge loops. But yeah, that's not actually solving our problem, I'm sorry. Let's get rid of this. How am I going to do this section here? This section here is tricky. I think if I go and push this up, let's go here, push this up and take a look. There we go. There we go, that's what I was looking for. Cool. That's much better. Cool, we're having a bit of an issue with this rounding here, but I I think we can just move this maybe like that. That's much better. Cool. Like that, and then here we can also just go and go into here, normal, push this up till it's curving, and then here as well, get that curve right. And then here we sort of do want those harder edges, so I think we'll just go add those lines in. And then I think here what we can do, the bottom here is, let's just take a look here. So if I go and push these up here, will this be smoother? I think it will be. I guess it's okay. I'm being a bit of a perfectionist. I guess if you know enough about modeling, you can fix a lot of these issues yourself. I don't want to spend the next hour on this section here, so I think I'll leave that to you to solve in case you want to go that in depth and detail, but I don't think I really would do so. So here we're going to go and push these up. There's an issue here. I guess we can add in a line there. How are we going to... We can get away with some triangles here. I think if we add in a line here, that might help with yeah, so we'll get away with some triangles. We'll just put those in here. So let's just do this again. What's happening here? That's strange. We'll just we'll add this in. I think we'll cut this hole out later. I think I'm going to be way too invested in it right now if I do it. So we'll go right click, split. We will select these faces and we'll just push it up like that. And then we'll just go extrude like so. The total length of this one here is 1.9. So if we go push this up, 1.9. And then what we can do is ring select, extrude it out. Let's take a look inside. When I extruded this thing, I had create cap sticked on. That's why all the Phong angles and stuff are a bit weird. So I need to go and delete these inside faces here. So I'm going to go inside the cube, ring select, delete, and now everything should be working correctly. Okay, that's the issue. Like, you should remember to delete, to untick create caps when you're extruding. So here we're going to go and add some lines here. Cool. So now we're getting closer to what I was looking for. So if we take a look at the whole thing, there's a lot I'm not really happy with. Sort of followed the real world measurements a bit too much. I think we're going to go and maybe adjust some of these. I'm mostly not happy about this section here. So I think what we'll do is go and correct that now. So we have a lot of things we need to move. I think it's just mostly this bevel here that's bugging me. So yeah, this whole section here. So if we can go and select these faces here. So let's go ring select. Or we could just do this. Let's go ring select, select, fill selection, select these. Then we can go and move these out, like so. Yeah, and then go like that. And then we can move this line as well. Cool, so now we're getting a bit better. So now it's looking a bit better. So now we're sort of going off measurements and stuff, because my measurements could have been completely wrong, and just going off like what actually looks right and what looks good. Okay, I think this bevel here is also maybe just slightly off, so we can go ring select, fill selection, and then I think I'll just go and push this out like that. Cool, so if we go and smooth this, should be looking a bit better. Cool, so now it doesn't look so flat and squashed. This bevel here still needs to be pushed out more. So let's go and push this out even more. Let's take a look. That might be slightly too much. Let's just push it in. Take a look again. Yeah, I think that's too much, so let's just push it back. Take a look. Okay, so I might have pushed this a bit too extreme. I guess that's alright. We can take a look at the overall thing. I think this thing might also be pushed out a bit far, so we can go and see. Now we're sort of like correcting all the minor details we might have gotten wrong at the start. Just push this in. There's a lot of cases where I like completely finish a project and then I realize it's like 1,000 minor details I might have missed, and I sort of fix them up all the way at the end. So it's okay if you sort of get a lot of the measurements wrong, then later you sort of fix them. Okay. Still not 100% happy with this bevel here, but I guess it doesn't have to be perfect. This here needs to be a bit harder, this edge here. Let's add a loop there. Okay, that's looking a bit better. And maybe also hard on this side here as well. Let's add a loop there. Alright, I think we're getting quite close. So what we'll do now is let's actually push these things two together, so we don't have to worry too much about topology, and not topology, but I don't even know what the word I'm looking for is. Making more stuff. Let's see what we can do with our axis center here. If I select all these edges and then try it, select the edge. There we go. I think that's right. Cool. Nice. I actually just learned how to do that now. I didn't know you could do that before. I think here I'll just go and extrude this in a bit. Maybe even add in a loop here if I can. Don't like that, but it's fine. It's not fine, but it's fine. Do we have loops? Okay, we do. That's why this... Okay, I see what's going on here. So let's go and undo what I just did. Let's go and undo that. We can get rid of these two lines here. I see what was happening now. Let's get rid of these two lines here. We'll add in a... Oh, let's do all of them at the same time, rather. Get rid of these two lines. And then get rid of these two lines here. Then we can go symmetrical loop cut here. So let's go loop there. There. Reuse there, and then we can just connect these with the line cut tool. Oh, like so, like so. Pressing escape to actually. Okay, cool. So I'm pressing escape to don't know how to say it. Finish it. Complete the cut. Like that. And then down here, Okay, so you can see there's quite a lot going on with this model. That's not right, like these lines here, but perfectionists can go and fix that if they really want to. But I know a lot of people don't care, they just want it to look good enough, so... There we go, that looks a lot better. So now if we go and bring this back in, you can just connect these two together. So let's go and undo the soloing here. And let's go and move this like so. Cool. So now we can go and put all this inside of a null. I think we want to center this here. So let's go and center out this. Let's turn off this alignment here. Or let's align it to the world actually. Then we can turn off alignment again. And then I think I want this to actually maybe move this way a bit. Cool. So then we're going to go and create a group. And put all of this inside that group here. This will be our, piece. I don't know what to call it. Piece. And then we can sort of just zero out this coordinate here. Zero out this coordinate here. And this thing is off center. I'm trying to figure out why. This thing is centered here. This thing is not centered here. Why is this thing not centered? Why is the size off again? You see this thing? The size here, I don't know why it does that. That's so annoying. But I'm trying to figure out why this is off center. Maybe there's some lines that are like, some points that aren't supposed to be there that are sort of throwing off the axis center. Okay, let's go and center this axis again. Zero that. Okay, that's fine now. So now if I go and move this here this way, it should be fine. Cool. Center that axis again. I think that's looking a bit better now. Okay, so I do want this axis to be sort of in between here, like that. Let's go create another group and call it ear. And then here we can just go and create another subdivision surface again as well, so that the axis is corrected. And then we'll bring that in like so. Cool, so now we can just rotate this a bit and rotate it this way a bit. And then we'll sort of go along with making the rest of the... I'll take a break for myself and then we'll sort of go along when I'm back with making the rest of the head strap here. But we sort of want this thing to rotate until this part here is flat, which is where the actual bend of this starts to really matter. I guess it doesn't actually have to be flat. So if I set the headphones like this, straight, it bends like that, and if it's like that. Okay, so let's go rotate this 35 degrees. I think maybe we'll go and add in a symmetry. Bring in this ear. We will go and group this as well, and then here we'll just go and select this worlds tool here, move this to the side. Symmetry, here we can go and pick whichever one we want. Why is this not? Okay, there we go. XY like that. Then he'll just move this until they touch and sort of get an idea of what the final headset will look like. I think this thing should maybe be rotated more, so here we'll go 38, 45, maybe something like that. Push it out, and then I think we could sort of just correct this angle of this thing, maybe bend it a bit more but it does look like it's bending quite a bit already. You can see here there's some incorrections with the mesh, which you can fix if you want, but I don't think I'll do that. But yeah, I guess it doesn't have to be perfect. Actually, this section here isn't flat, so this is right. But yeah, I'm gonna take a little break, and then and then when I come back, I'll do the whole head strap, and we can get into other stuff.